What's going on, guys? Gomes here, back again on another MLB The Show video. Today we have our grand old MLB The Show review for MLB The Show 21. Now, ordinarily, this would be coming about a month, at least, from now. But this is no ordinary year, of course, as we have, for one, had the game be delayed from its typical release approximately mid-March, and the biggest thing of all is that it is now on Xbox. It is no longer exclusive to just PlayStation. And even further, it's on Xbox Game Pass, so this is quite the unorthodox year and quite the unorthodox time for a Gomer review. Just a quick background, I've been playing MLB The Show since MLB The Show 9 would have been my first year with Dustin Pedroia on the cover. The year following my Rays' triumphant Game 5 loss in the World Series. Game 6 loss last year. So I've been playing for quite some time. I've been a fan of a lot of different modes. I grew up playing Franchise, Road to the Show, and since then I've transitioned to primarily doing Diamond Dynasty, what I cover on this channel, but I still play all modes, and I will cover all modes in this review. We're going to be talking about, in order, Diamond Dynasty, going to Franchise, Gameplay, Road to the Show, and then talking about general, to give my overall thoughts and opinions, my honest review of MLB The Show 21. So, if you guys are new to the channel, feel free to leave a like if you guys do enjoy this. Let me know. I want to hear a scale of 0 to 10. 10, of course, being, good lord, I cannot get my eyes off of this screen. I cannot stop playing this game. Leave that down below in the comment section. Subscribe if you guys want a place for MLB The Show videos. Like I said, do Diamond Dynasty stuff over here. You guys have been really showing a lot of support this year. Keep it up. Let's get into the review. MLB The Show's Ultimate Team mode remains the best of the bunch in a sports game field where it has now become a requirement to have that card collecting game mode. Sony San Diego Studios' reluctancy to deep dive into the obvious and malicious forced microtransactions that you'll see in 2K or EA titles keep both fans and their wallets happy. As the clear focus of each year's release, MLB 21's Diamond Dynasty does not reinvent the wheel, but instead fine-tuned and improved upon its most desirable aspects. My favorite thing about Diamond Dynasty has once again only been improved upon, that being its sense of not forcing you into spending additional money on top of course, the game's already $60 or $70 for next-gen release. They do a fantastic job of truly allowing players to have a fun time getting cards that they love without having to spend additional money, whereas, again, 2K EA will put you in the angle lock, only offering release if you kindly release them your credit card information. So the ways they improved upon that, Team Affinity, which is a program that nets you diamond players, cards that are going to help you out in your team early on in the year. They put a cap on what you used to be able to just buy out with in-game currency. Now you can only get a pretty minuscule amount of progression through actually spending money. Daily moments, brand new this year, by simply allotting, we'll say 10 minutes, servers allowing, out of your day to play a pretty simple moment. If you do that for about a week, you're going to get an 89 overall Diamond Roberto Alomar. That's just for this month. It's going to improve and get better each month from here on out. Of course, as always, there's a great variety of ways to play. I've said it before, Diamond Dynasty is like an onion. It has layers. There's pretty much 3 modes that are going to comprise offline and online play. For online, you have ranked seasons, you have Battle Royale, and you have Play versus Friends. For offline, you're going to have Conquest, Showdown, and Moments. Cross-play enabled. So whether your friend is on PS4 and you're on the Xbox Series X, does not matter. You can easily match up with your friends. Goes the same for playing against randoms. You're going to match up with anybody as long as you have cross-play enabled. Speaking of those online modes, there is a great variety of ways to earn these rewards. Very rarely are they restricting you to just one singular path of redemption for earning these different cards, completing these different programs, such as in ranked seasons, in past years, you would have to achieve 900 rating to get to the top card of the month of that ranked season. Now, they allow you to win 40 games and you're going to get the equivalent. You're still going to get that card. You're not going to get the profile items that's going to signify that you really made World Series 900 rating, but you get the card, which is at the end of the day what a lot of people are looking for. Parallels completely changed the game. Parallels are a revamped, a remastering of last year's Prestiges, which is new to the game. Everybody loved, but they only went on to improve upon it. Parallels are obtainable for every single card, whether or not you earn it. So you could have a card that you do great with in Battle Royale. You don't have the card in reality, but those stats you're accumulating in Battle Royale are going to transfer again to Battle Royale, despite you not having the card. So you could do really well with David Ortiz, and you have him third parallel. You're going to have him third parallel in Battle Royale. So it, again, rewards you for just playing the game. You don't have to have these cards. You don't have to lock them in. Stadium Creator is enabled for Diamond Dynasty, which is super fun. And I love having an identity, a customization for my team, the Minneapolis Musty Biscuits. Content. Diamond Dynasty, of course, being a live service game. You can expect new content, that being new packs, new cards, new programs to grind for every 2 to 3 days per week, which is quite frequent. Additionally, stuff like monthly awards, roster updates, team affinity programs, the new seasons, new inning programs, all of those things can be seen ahead of time on the schedule. So you always have a general idea of what's coming before it actually drops, so you can prepare for it. MLB The Show's single game currency ensures that you always get the value, that you always get what you pay for. Yes, you could argue that paying real-world money for in-game currency of a game that only has a 1-year lifespan until the next one releases, and whatever you paid for in MLB 21 has no meaning for MLB 22 is redundant. It's stupid. I get that, but at the same point, it having only one currency, unlike, again, sounding like a broken record, 2K or Madden, where they have like 3, 2, 3, and you have to buy points to get packs and hope, pray to God that you actually pull something good. You can directly have influence on what your money goes to in MLB The Show. It's only recorded as stubs. You can buy stubs, buy something on the market. Yes, it's still microtransactions. Yes, you can still look at it as pay to win, but at the end of the day, you get exactly what you pay for and nothing else. You don't have to hope for randomized loot boxes. Now, what is Diamond Dynasty lacking? A couple things. I know I talk quite highly about it. Quality of life things, such as exchanging team affinity vouchers. If you guys have played the game, you're well aware of what I'm talking about there. You get vouchers from playing Showdown, and you have to redeem those in the team affinity program. And I would have 20 vouchers, and you have to do it one by one. Being how bad the servers have been lately, you can imagine my frustration. Other things, filtering duplicates in your binder. I talked about you're now able to filter your binder. Would be cool to filter duplicates so I can see exactly what I'm for sure going to want to sell. Event lineups still do not save. So if you're playing events, you lose out 2 games, so you lose out on your run. You have to completely set that lineup, which might take 5 minutes all over again. Small, but definitely would be nice to have. Custom uniform saves. A big thing why you don't run custom uniforms, if I want to change it, I can't save that uniform. I can save the logo, but I have to completely make the uniforms again. So I maybe have to take a screenshot and just kind of replicate what exactly I did there. Quite annoying. Please fix that, SDS. More play versus friends options. Right now you can just play versus friends in a Diamond Dynasty game. I don't know if I'm looking for a park style game mode, but something else to do with friends would be nice. Maybe Battle Royale. More competitive modes. We talked about weekend leagues such as they have it in Madden. Rare that I'm going to speak highly of Madden, but it is a high rewarding, high skill competition that would be nice to see offered in Diamond Dynasty. That being said, I love the mode. I think it's an improvement on last year, which was an improvement on the year before, the year before that. I'm going to give Diamond Dynasty a 9 out of 10. I think they did a bang-up job, and it is really good. Very enjoyable so far. What is there to say about franchise mode in MLB The Show 21? Well, it's satisfying enough in conjunction to the other game modes and offerings they have to equate to a $60 or $70 value. in my opinion, but missing many of the features that true die-hard baseball or sports franchise fans in general expect. But it does enough, I suppose, for those just looking to take their favorite team to a World Series run, and really nothing more. Same format, just gotta go through my impressions on playing franchise. Trade logic sucks. That's one thing they emphasized in their pre-launch streams, that they did make improvements to trade logic. I disagree. You'll see on some of these clips right here where I was making truly asinine trades, getting players that should not, in any circumstance, be traded for D, C prospect, 60 overalls that I'm trading them for. So I think that is a big miss. The brand new projected depth chart. A lot of people were clowning this because it was essentially their, it was front page news for franchise, right? This was their big thing. This was their magnum opus, which is kind of sad, admittedly, but I kind of do like it. It paints a picture of a team if you're not familiar with them. Year after year, in the next 5, who's going to be leaving, whose contract expires, your prospects, how they are purported, your prospects, how they are projected to progress in terms of overall and where they shape out on a team's depth chart. So I think it does do a pretty good job of painting the picture of a team's future. I talked about how poor the trade logic is. I do want to say I appreciate how often trades are offered up to you. That being said, they aren't of very much quality. I was doing a Royals franchise, and you would not believe it. I was offered Tyler Glasnow straight up for Carlos Santana. In what world, in what planet is Tyler Glasnow, who is seen as one of the best young pitchers, has some of the most value, has very much control for the team over the next years, for a 34-year-old first baseman in Carlos Santana? Good Lord. Re-signing players at the end of the year is still a mess. You have all your minor leaguers to deal with. I just recommend putting it on auto at that point. Save yourself some time. Scouting is pretty good. However, I would appreciate notifications once a scout is done with their assignment. I think it typically takes them about 2 weeks, so you could plan on that. Regardless, if you're not thinking ahead about that, it might be a month until you look back at scouting, and then you miss out on valuable time to search out prospects. Another big thing they added this year was minor league stats. You wouldn't believe me, but they don't transfer. They only show at the season. Once the season is over, they vanish, as if they didn't ever even exist in the game, which makes no sense. I cannot believe that that is actually, I can believe it. It is MLB The Show franchise at the end of the day. Is it truly that unimaginable that such forethought would not be in the devs' heads? So I guess it makes sense. The roster vault does not work. Hasn't worked since launch. I don't know when it is going to work, but that is pretty crucial in terms of franchise. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if that has something to do with the server issues they've been encountering, but it is truly inexcusable. Additionally, with Stadium Creator, I want to say I love that you can lock a team to a certain stadium. So again, for rebranding, or if you just want, if you hate Tropicana Field as much as myself, and you just want so desperately to get them out of that warehouse, you can do that, and you can lock them into a certain stadium created. Now, getting on to what I was truly looking forward to here. What is franchise lacking? A fucking lot. You know, what else is there to say? You know, J.J. Abrams gave more depth to his explanation of how Emperor Palpatine survived the Death Star, for Christ's sakes. Into detail, international signing is completely non-existent. However, it is quite prevalent in baseball now. We're seeing a lot of big stars come from international signing, not just drafts. Relocation, again, talking about refranchising, completely not an option. It's an option in every other sports game, even Madden, which is constantly clowned for its poor franchise mode. True rebranding, we talked about that. It doesn't really feel like a rebrand, just feels like slapping a coat of paint on an already existing building. Team marketing. These are things that used to be in MLB The Show franchise, but were taken for some reason. They are just no longer in there. You used to be able to set promotional days. You used to be able to set who was on TV. What players are you marketing in particular? Ballpark amenities. You used to be able to add batting cages. Things like that to keep fans entertained if your ticket sales are low. Really feeling like a true owner. Those options are not in MLB The Show. They haven't been for a decade at this point. And a sense of variety and progression, as I mentioned. I mean, each year, I set my expectations for franchise mode quite low. I set the bar very low to the ground. You know, so low Jose Altuve could ride that roller coaster. But they still managed to disappoint. There is quite literally more detail put into Game of Thrones Season 8 with the Starbucks coffee cup in the shot than franchise mode. It is a disgrace. It is a damn shame. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. There's a few things it does well enough to warrant that. And again, if nothing else, it is good enough for you to take your favorite team to the World Series. If that's all you're looking for and nothing more, you're going to be completely satisfied with franchise, but it's not good enough for me. Important to note, however, no matter what game mode you prefer, your enjoyment of MLB 21 will truly only go as far as your enjoyment of the gameplay does. The last 5 years has seen much turmoil, major changes to account for major user feedback, major user unhappiness when it came to gameplay in MLB The Show. While this year it's still not perfect, I think MLB 21's gameplay has been the best out of the last 5. Pinpoint pitching rewards skill. Hitting results seem reasonable, if nothing else. Tons of new user-friendly features have been integrated to get them started for what I like to think is a fun time on the virtual diamond. Results while hitting seem fair, reasonable. Yes, there's times where I would enjoy getting better results, but there is very few times where I believe I deserve better results. Talking in terms of exit velocity, of course. In the past, you would square up a ball, have it timed well, and the ball would not, the exit velocity rather, would not reflect on your user input. Additionally, talking about name of the game, bloops, bloop singles, poor input hits. They're still there, and in fact, they seem a little bit more prevalent than they were last year. Again, it's tough. It's always a point of contention. How realistic do we want it to be? Do we want it where if you square up the ball at all, it's a home run? And if you do not square up the ball at all, it is guaranteed to be an out? What sense of realism comparative to the user skill would you enjoy? That's always the big concern as far as gameplay goes. Talking about other things, pinpoint pitching is my favorite. It is tough, it is not easy to pick up, and it's even tougher to master. That being said, it's the most rewarding, it's the most user dependent, and it's the most fun. I don't know about you, but I still find it rather fun laughing at myself at sometimes a poorly timed pitch that gets hung and hit for a home run. New fielding animations actually showcase, actually seem noticeable this year. They always talk about it. This year, I definitely notice it. Specifically talking about getting behind the ball, getting ready to go into a crow hop. More sharp turns, angles on slow rollers, on choppers, talking about shortstops and whatnot. Talking about outfielders cutting the ball off before it gets to the wall. Those things have definitely been improved. Strafing is a brand new feature, allowing yourself to be chest squared to the wall, getting ready to get in position to field the ball and not be running around in a circle like you're playing duck, duck, gray duck. You know, that is much improved. If you played last year's game, it is really not an issue from what I've experienced till this point. Poor sense of urgency at times is definitely there. It always fluctuates on how bad it is year in and year out. And this year I've had a couple times where it's been quite frustrating. This often happens where infielders won't charge the ball despite me moving my analog stick indicating I would want them to do that. Some animations still seem quite clumsy and it seems to be a bit intended. I'm not exactly sure. Talking specifically about first baseman, third baseman, and wonky animations of them just missing the ball. Lots of inputs as far as pitching, as far as hitting. Obviously, hitting really is going to be zone, pretty much nothing else if you're looking to play very competitively, but they still have analog, they still have directional. Pitching, that's where it truly gets a lot more well-versed, whether you do pinpoint, meter, analog, pulse. There's so many different inputs that you're going to find one that you have success with, and you're going to find one that you do enjoy. Talking about meter, pinpoint, and pure analog, all of those three have par, perfect accuracy region. Last year, big issue, tough to pitch. The ball could go all kittywampus. It could go rather wherever it wanted. It wasn't really within your control. Now it is to an extent. If you have a perfect input with your pitch on pinpoint, meter, or pure analog, there is a certain window dependent on your pitcher's attributes and dependent on what difficulty you're playing at where that ball could even go, as long as you have a perfect input, of course. So I do like that. There also seems to be a general increase in user skill factoring into success, which is always going to be a plus for me. What is defense lacking, in my opinion? Catcher's defensive attributes still don't really seem to affect gameplay. So much to the point, I don't even factor that in when I'm playing the game. I only look at a catcher's arm strength in their blocking ratings. I don't think fielding actually matters at all. I've done tests the last 2 years proving this on my channel. Utilizing custom cameras online would also be fantastic if they did that. I don't know why you can't do it online. You can do it offline, but would just offer more customization for you to play the game the way you like, and for you to max out your ability. Biggest thing to remember, gameplay is always going to be subjective at how fun it is for anybody. A lot of factors in that. How well do you perform? If you aren't doing well, there's a great chance you're probably not having that much fun. I do think gameplay is quite good. I'm going to narrow it down to a 7.5 out of 10. There's a couple shortcomings, in particular talking about the lack of urgency. Perhaps you haven't ran into a situation where it's inhibited you yet, but I assure you it will. Hitting feels to be in a good enough spot where, if nothing else, I hope they don't touch it for at least a couple months to truly let it play out and get more larger sample size on it. I think it's good. There is still some things that could be worked on, however. Road to the Show, one of the game's most long-lasting and the most played game mode, has been revitalized for a brand new generation and a brand new console generation of players. Addition of creating a two-way player made for much more variety and enjoyment. The new archetype or perk system, while confusing at first, allows for a swift change in your skill set in how you play the game, making sure that you find a archetype that works for you. Still, the mode seems to lack some personality. Improvements were made to feel more immersed, but you are still essentially just playing games, but now with an MLB Network segment spliced in the middle. Can't emphasize how much I really enjoy the two-way integration enough. It saves you from having to create both a batter and a pitcher. Now you can just have your one standalone centralized ball player, and you also get the options to choose. Do you want to be a starter and an everyday lineup kind of guy, or do you want to be a reliever? Immediately upon starting Road to the Show, I felt like it was missing something, because they took out the Bowman Scout Day, and you are now drafted, or you are now picking what team you want to be drafted to immediately. There is nothing leading up to that decision, and you are immediately casted into that team's minor league system. Bowman Scout Day was never a big fan of it. However, you know, they always say you never truly love something until it's gone. Well, I don't love and still have never loved Bowman Scout Day. Let's get that clear. I do want something there instead. The new in-game Road to the Show podcast / MLB Network segments are definitely appreciated. It adds a sense of individualism to your ball player, where it used to feel like you were just player locking that Road to the Show player. I do want to say, though, some of the recordings, specifically regarding Christopher Russo's, have rather poor audio. I mean, good lord, Chris Russo sounds like he's recording his audio with I don't know, the Soldier phone, you know, crank that audio quality all the way down. So that's a little bit annoying, but he's not featured too often. A lot of people you'll see there, Jenny Finch, you'll see Sean Casey, you'll see Carlos Pena, a lot of different MLB Network personalities, Robert Flores, of course. Ballplayer Archetypes allows you to have a significantly higher advantage. The way you progress is essentially just through these ball player archetypes. You can individually progress each attribute in Road to the Show, not Diamond Dynasty. But with an archetype, you could have a diamond level archetype making a new Road to the Show character, and you could be like an 85 overall in AA. So you don't have to do that. You can always ensure that you start with a bronze archetype, but just keep that in mind because it could be rather weird for sure when you're just playing in AA for 2 years despite being better than your, you know, major league competitor at that same position. Speaking of archetypes, they were much needed for the two-way integration. Very happy to see them here. You can freely swap out these archetypes before you start any game. So if you're slated to start that night, you can go ahead and take out a hitting archetype and swap it for a pitching one. Unfortunately, you're not going to have the same hitting stats when it comes to you pitching, which kind of sucks, kind of takes out that true two-way feel, kind of think of how they want Ohtani to be. Couple things here. Contract salary still means nothing. It does nothing and it means nothing. It's just a number on a screen. Furthermore, a team will never refuse to sign you despite you maybe wanting $50 million more than, you know, they're going to offer you. You are the only one that can refuse them. If you say you want 50 mil and they say, how about 50 grand? They will just say you have to move your offer down. You are going to have to decline yourself. They will never flat out refuse you, which makes no sense in terms of how an actual player would work. And again, that money, whether it be 50 mil or 50 grand, it doesn't matter. It's just a number on a screen. There's nothing that you can do with that. Which kind of translates to you never really feeling like that guy. Their whole thing about adding in these, podcasts is to more immerse you into your character. So it just doesn't feel like you're doing a player lock of a player in franchise mode for that matter. Also, my reports of discontent whenever my agent phones me and says, how are you feeling about being on the Kansas City Royals? How are you feeling about being on the Colorado Rockies? Did you develop depression yet? I can say yes, but he's not going to get me out of there. He's not going to hire me a therapist. Obviously a joke on the ladder there, but seriously, I can say I want to be traded. He doesn't do anything. I can't hire a new agent. So getting into what Road to the Show is lacking. Trade requests, like I just said. You can never formally request a trade. You used to be able to do that. You can't. In today's game, true immersion, again, you don't ever feel it. It's really never there. The origin of your character, while there was never really one prior to, with the Bowman Scout Day, there's nothing. You're just conjured up. You're made in a lab. You know, you were conceived by the Force for all we know, like Anakin. So what exactly does that translate on a numerical scale? I'm going to say a 6.5 out of 10, you know. Like I said, the podcast is cool. I like those. But nothing else, really. I enjoy having a two-way player. But you don't really feel like you're actually a creative player in the league. You just feel like another player in the league. And of course, we are saving the best for last, a next-gen exclusive feature, Stadium Creator. A mode 10 years in the making. The most requested feature, year after year, by fans, by far. When it was finally announced this year, I expected something similar to MVP 05. You know, maybe a handful of options for your wall, maybe a handful of options, 5 to 10 options for dimensions. But what we got, whatever I could have possibly hoped for, or best imagined, was surpassed in literally every way. Again, this is a next-gen exclusive feature. Yes, it sucks, but once you truly play around, once you truly see the customization, you would understand why. Online utilization. this is able to be used for Battle Royale. It's play versus friends. It's ranked seasons. However, you are relegated to using their preset wall dimensions. That being said, there's like 150 plus options, so it's just ensuring integrity will be remained online, and user experience, user happiness is pushed to the forefront. Do want to say also, you can't play at night, which is a bit peculiar for some, but the reason behind this is quite simple, actually. It's to do with lights, you know? You are not forced to have lights in your stadium, and this isn't Wrigley Field in the early 1900s, you know? You're gonna have to have some lights there, so it makes sense that you can't play a pitch black game if you don't put any lights on in your ballpark. I mean, literally, everything you could want in terms of scoreboards, concourses, concessions, even the small details, you know, like the concession stands. There's writing on the menus, chairs, canopies that you could set up for shade. There is so much customization in Stadium Creator. There's also so many backdrops, whether you want to have snow, canopies in the back, whether you want to have canyons, you know, just have your ballpark transmuted into the Grand Canyon. You can have that all up to you again. It's truly hard to really talk about what Stadium Creator does, because it kind of does everything. You know, you kind of have to really get your hands on it to fully see the availability of this vast game mode. Now, talking about what it is lacking, dome availability is not in the game, at least for this year. Singular piece water. Kind of sucks. I am a little bit upset about this. You can have water be a backdrop, but you can't have essentially a piece of water. So you can't build a river or a small pond, which would be cool. You're just not allowed to do it, so it's a bit of a shortcoming. Some pieces have clipping issues. I'll hit some home runs and it'll just go through a stone wall. I don't know. Maybe they got some... I don't know where they got that stone from. Maybe it's substandard stone, but usually stone that I've seen doesn't have baseballs go right through it, so it's a bit of an issue, of course. And snap logic could be improved a bit. I mean, truly, so many options that it is actually rather intimidating at your first glance, at your first playthrough of Stadium Creator. Luckily, there is in-game tutorials commentated for you to kind of get you started. You could also watch YouTube tutorials. Those are also at your disposal. However, I think it's kind of fun to just play around with it, you know, learn as you go, see what you can conjure up with that big imagination of yours. You know, the most that you can lose is time, but let's be real, there's a good chance that you're going to have a lot of time on your hands, because you sure as hell aren't going to be able to play online. It is hard to truly put into words how bad the servers have been for online in MLB The Show 21 to this point. Now, I propose a bit of a challenge to you. If you're in Diamond Dynasty right now, if you're on the menus, I want you to put your controller down. I want you to get up. I want you to go make a set of toast. Make some toast. Really disperse the butter. Don't skimp. You know, we aren't speedrunning this shit. Make sure every crevice, every nook and cranny has a nice creamy salted butter on it. And come back out of DD, go back in and see if you can connect to the servers. There's, and report back to the comments section. There's a good chance it's going to be 50-50, because these have been less reliable than Xfinity. It's ludicrous how bad these servers are. It's tough, yes. You had the game on Xbox, and it's on Xbox Game Pass, so people are essentially getting it for free. If you have any interest at baseball, or even if just downloading a free game, you can go ahead and download it, which of course makes the servers overpopulated, which stresses them out, which leads to this. I'm quite sure that they will be fixed eventually, but as I stated, it can't go without reporting truly how bad they've been, because you might not have even had a chance to experience everything that I said about Diamond Dynasty yet, because you haven't been able to get on the servers for long enough. So, with all this being said, What are my feelings? What are my opinions? What's my honest viewpoint on MLB The Show 21? That would be, for next gen, a 7 out of 10. I am, of course, reviewing the next generation copy. I've not had a chance to play the last gen, being PS4 or Xbox One. However, I can say with a pretty high degree of certainty that it would at least be down to a 6.5 to maybe a 6 with not having Stadium Creator. Because I truly do think that is my favorite aspect of MLB The Show 21. Not only building it, but just the feel of playing in those ballparks online is truly something else. You know, it's quite fun to play at Target Field and say, hey, I just hit it where I usually sit. That's cool. But at the same point, it's quite special to have a unique stadium specifically designed by you, for you, and kind of suiting your play style. If you want to be more pitching oriented, make a pitcher park. Have a larger stadium where it's, you know, harder to hit home runs. The walls are a bit bigger. You want to be slapping dingers, you can go ahead and do that. More so where my stadium's designed around. So it truly adds, like I said, another layer more depth behind the game as a whole. Because franchise, I gave it a 4 out of 10. It'd probably be like a 2.5 or a 3 without Stadium Creator, being honest. It really changes the game. So yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Let me know what you guys would rate it out of 10, again, below in the comment section. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more MLB The Show videos, more gameplay, more tips for Diamond Dynasty, everything of that nature. Would really appreciate it. If you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, absolutely. It's free to you. Go ahead and download it. Even if you're not an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, get it for a month or so. Try out the game. Absolutely. If you play Diamond Dynasty, I think you're going to like it. Go ahead and get the game. If you don't play Diamond Dynasty, if you have no interest, if you're only a franchise guy, I would probably wait until All-Star break, until it drops to 30, 40 bucks. Just being real. I just don't see, with the roster vault not working right now, and everything of that nature, that it's truly worth your while if you're only into franchise. They didn't earn your $60, they didn't earn your $70. So, again, hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and later guys, I'm out. Yeet.